Well, ladies and gentlemen, the world is at war and the missiles are roaring over Middle East. Blood has been spilled on both sides of the divide. But what's the end game? Joining us exclusively on the Newshour tonight is Yair Lapid, Israeli leader of opposition and former Prime Minister of Israel, someone who said that Israel should not apologize for the strike on Ali Khamenei. Thank you very much, Mr. Lapid, for joining us here on Times Now. I want to ask you, even as we speak, there are details that are coming in on the action. The Americans have torpedoed an Iranian vessel, Iranian frigate in the Indian Ocean. And from what we know, this is in Sri Lankan waters, very close to Indian neighborhood. Has the theater of war now expanded to India's neighborhood? Has a boundary been crossed here?
Well, there's a question to be asked, what was an Iranian frigate doing there? The Iranians are doing their best in order to expand and export this war. They attacked not only Israel, but also actually all the neighbors. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Bahrain, and Kuwait just a couple of hours ago. So the initiative of expanding this war is Iranian. They cannot complain now that there is a retaliation.
But India has been an ally of Israel. This is close for comfort for the Indians living in India. How do you respond to that question?
Well, India wasn't, you said, was an ally of Israel. India is an ally and a great friend of Israel. And it's in everybody's best interest to keep India out of this conflict. And by the way, it was an American attack, not an Israeli attack, and the Americans are also a great ally of India. So I think the best way to avoid an Indian interference in this war is to make sure there will be no Iranian frigates next to Indian shores.
Let me ask you, Mr. Lapid, you've said this war is a war against a dangerous regime and that Israel will not apologize for the killing of Ali Khamenei. But how far is Israel willing to go? Because right now what we are seeing is the theater of war expanding and engulfing larger and larger areas. Where is this going at this moment? Your assessment, please.
Well, the war had three goals. Two very substantial and tangible ones, which is eliminating Iran's ballistic missile program and eliminating Iran's nuclear program. And the other one is to enable the people of Iran to change their own fate. Unlike what you said, I don't think it's a regime. I think it's a terror organization who took hostage an entire country using terror methods and then exporting terror all around the Middle East and elsewhere. So what needs to happen is for the people of Iran to find their own Gandhi or their own Nelson Mandela or their own Lech Walesa and take their destiny to their own hands.
So
we are just improving the conditions for them to do so.
So let me just ask you, there is confusion over whether it was Israel that forced America's hand or whether it was the other way around. All kinds of statements have come out so far. Again, what's your assessment?
Well, it's not an assessment. It's a joint operation. It was planned together. It is being executed together. The United States is our greatest ally, and also this is the biggest, the mightiest military power in the history of humanity. And we are glad we have such great friends. I think right now it's the free world versus tyranny. You know, it doesn't happen often in the 21st century that you have a war with such moral clarity. I'm, you know, talking to American journalists about this. I gave them all the same example. I said, if you had a chance to kill bin Laden before 9/11, would you do it? And the answer was always yes. So it's the same here. We had a chance to get rid of the threat that they were imposing us, which included an atomic bomb on Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, and we did it. So I don't understand people who are saying this was a war of choice. There was no choice there. We protected our people, and the United States is protecting the free world.
Did Israel expect that this action would result in 10 or 12 countries getting involved, especially after the fight back from Iran?
Actually, no. Well, I mean, this is a mistake made by the Iranians, who attacked countries that were not involved and got them involved. I mean, there was no reason whatsoever to attack, I don't know, the Emirates or Saudi Arabia, who were not involved in this. And I think it was the result of the hysteria inside Iran and the lack of command and control. And the result is that the Iranians themselves has created the coalition they were so afraid of. Now there is a coalition of countries who are saying, okay, we understand Iran now is a rogue country, and we got, so to speak, the license to kill to answer the attacks that were forced upon us.
So let me ask you, there has been criticism of the attack on hospitals and a school and children having lost their lives in this attack. Do you regret that?
Well, first of all, nobody knows exactly what happened there. They're still checking it. This has happened in an area that the Iranians themselves were bombing, so there's always the possibility of them misfiring. Of course, I'm sorry for children who are dying in grown-ups wars. Children should not die in grown-ups wars. But let me tell you one thing about this. Israel was bombing military targets. The United States was bombing military targets. And maybe there was a mistake, and maybe innocent people were children were killed, and this is horrible. Iran is targeting civilians here in Israel. Yesterday I went to the city of Bet Shemesh, visiting the site in which 3 children from the same family died together from an Iranian missile. There is no army base anywhere to be seen. They're doing this in purpose. And besides, we're not taking lectures from a country who just killed 32,000 of its own people. These people are criminals and terrorists, and they're not going to dictate to us what is the laws of war.
So let me ask you, as the leader of opposition in Israel, what's your assessment of Prime Minister Netanyahu's conduct, decisions about the war so far?
Well, it's a bit extraordinary, because usually I think I've earned the title Netanyahu's most bitter rival. But on this one, I'm in agreement with him. We've met the other day discussing what comes next, and I think he's handled it the right way. It's the right war. It's a just war. It's a war we were forced into and had no other choice but to go to this war, and we were going to win it, and we're going to win it together. Israel stands united in this war.
In the end, I would ask for your assessment. Is a full-scale invasion of Lebanon on the cards to finish the Hezbollah once and for all?
It's a possibility that shouldn't be taken off the table. I think Hezbollah is another example of what Iran is doing to the Middle East, to the region. Think of it this way: it's a terror organization. It's defined as a terror organization by everybody, including the EU and everyone else. And this terror organization is taking hostage a whole country. So if the people of Lebanon knows what's best for them, they should tell Hezbollah, get lost, leave this country. Otherwise, you're bringing doomsday on us all.
Many people are also questioning on what happens to the Straits of Hormuz because even if it's not military action, probably the economic impact can affect the entire world.
I think you might be right on the short term, even though the Americans have kind of bombed most of the Iranian Navy. Still, maybe on the short term, this will affect oil prices, but on the long term, the concept in which a terror country or a rogue country got its hand on the valve of the world in terms of oil supply was never a great idea. And if this will be changed, it will be for everybody's benefit, including oil prices.
In the end, your prediction, how long do you think this war is going to go on? How soon is the end game that you're expecting to be inside?
Well, President Trump said 4 weeks, so I would say up to 4 weeks the most. I don't think it's going to take, and it's not going to take months, it's not going to take days, it's somewhere in between.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lapid. Thank you very much for joining me here on Times Now. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And
thank you. Thank you for having me, and we thank India for the friendship that we feel in these difficult days.
Many thanks, and we wish every civilian to be safe from the impact of war. Thank you very much. With that, it's a wrap on the Newshour tonight. Good night, and I'll be back tomorrow with the Newshour at 9.